hello. I'm Casey.
And I'm Fallon.
And this is
Render the Darkness.
Okay, so Fallon is actually going to be doing the episode today, but I'm going to jump in real quick with this episode's worldly fact. The worldly fact is that just like our fingerprints, our tongue also possesses its own unique print.
Did not know that.
I don't think that the police station is going to start tongue printing anytime soon, but I do know that I did see where they actually are doing some research and trying to create machines that can read a tongue print.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, yeah, we have unique fingerprints and tongue prints.
Well, that is interesting information that I never knew.
I also did not know that. That's exclusive to humans, by the way.
Oh.
Probably didn't need to say that because I don't think anybody else has fingerprints, but...
Well, do monkeys have
I
fingerprints?
don't know. Ooh, maybe my next
Primates?
worldly fact.
I
I don't know. Let me Google it. I'm curious. Hold on. Yes, many primates have fingerprints, including chimpanzees, gorillas, and koalas.
Oh, koalas have fingerprints.
Oh, that's cool.
Could
See?
you imagine little finger... Oh, that's just cute.
Learning a couple of new things this episode. Nice.
Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to be talking about some legends. Every culture has their own legends, and they have been passed down over time. There's the Banshee in Ireland, Bloody Mary, Pandora's Box, and the Fountain of Youth. Some of these legends may have truths to them scattered about, and some legends don't really have a lot of information you can find about them. Many legends were created to scare people and to keep them from doing something that they weren't supposed to do. One legend that is from Arkansas is the Heber Springs water panther. It is said that there is a creature that looks to be a cross between Bigfoot and a puma. They say that the creatures are man-like and are covered in fur, and they are also said to be able to walk on land and are able to breathe underwater.
My husband has mentioned the water panthers a few times.
Yes, he has. And that was the first one that popped up for Arkansas, and I was like, well...
There you go. That's awesome.
All right, so the two legends that I'll be talking about are the legend of Alexander Sawney Bean and the legend of Teihiihan. So let's go ahead and get started with the first legend, Alexander Sawney Bean. I was going to refer to him as Mr. Bean, but for reasons I'm sure most, if not all of you are aware, I wouldn't be able to do that. All right, so we're going to just call him Alexander.
I love Mr. Bean.
He is amazing. So there's not a lot known about his early life, but he was thought to have been born in the 15th century in East Lothian. Now, some sources say he was a tanner, and some say he was a gardener and a laborer by trade. It's also said that his father was a ditch digger and a hedge trimmer. In some sources, it kind of varies. Now, Alexander quickly found out that he wasn't cut out for working. He decided that the best thing to do for himself was to leave town and find something better. Now, he did find something, or rather someone. I don't really want to say better by any means, by the name of Black Agnes Douglas, who, like him, didn't like the idea of having to work. Some people supposedly accused Agnes of being a witch. I didn't really find a concrete reason as to why she was being accused of that, but apparently a lot of people thought she was. Now, the couple decided that they would just start robbing people in order to get the things that they needed. They continued to rob people until the robbery turned into murder, and the couple thought that it would be a good idea to eat their victim. So, after this horrendous crime...
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yes, it did. Wasn't expecting that, was you?
I was not expecting that, no.
After the horrendous crime, in fear of being caught, the couple traveled to a coastal cave called Bonny Cave in Bonny Head that was located between Girvan and Ballantrae. Now, they say that the cave was 200 yards or 180 meters deep. The entrance was sometimes blocked off by water during the high tide. There were said to have been tunnels through the rock that were longer than a mile, as well as many different passages that were hidden throughout the cave. Now, because of this, the Bean family was able to live in that cave for 25 years unnoticed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, This would later come in handy for the future growing family. Because Alexander didn't want to work an honest living, he decided that the best way to continue to support his new wife was to continue the robberies. Now, because the roads that was connected to the villages were narrow, it was easy to ambush people. He also decided that the best way to keep from getting caught committing these crimes would be to murder each of his victims. He also had the idea that instead of having to go to town to get supplies, he could just butcher the bodies to give to his family as a good source of protein while getting rid of any type of evidence at the same time.
Oh.
It is said that because of this high protein diet, Agnes and Alexander began to have a lot of children. Now, because of all the new mouths to feed, the need to obtain more food has grown rather quickly. During the next 20 years, the children grew up learning how to murder, ambush, rob, and to cook the flesh of their victims. The children were also taught how to salt and pickle the leftover flesh. Now, it's been suggested that some of those quote-unquote leftovers would sometimes wash up on the shores, which didn't go unnoticed, but because the family stayed in the cave during the day and they only come out to take their victims at night, the nearby village had no idea that there was a clan of murderous cannibals living close to them. Now, once the village people did start to notice the many people that had disappeared, there were search parties constructed to find the person or persons behind them. One of the parties did notice the cave, but didn't think anyone would live in it, let alone survive in it. So they became so desperate trying to find justice that the villagers actually started hanging innocent people for the crimes.
Oh, no.
Even after the hangings, people were still disappearing. Now, some of the villagers started to blame the innkeepers because they were the last ones to see the people that had gone missing. Now, there was a particular night when the Bean family decided to ambush a couple that was returning home from a fair on a horse. The family had no idea that the man was trained very well in combat, and he actually had a sword and a gun on him. He was able to keep the family from killing him, but unfortunately they were able to knock his wife off the horse, killing her once she hit the ground.
Aww.
Yeah, it was sad. There were some other people that had left the fair and had seen what was happening and were able to rescue the husband, and then they took him to see the local magistrate to tell him what had happened. Now that the Bean clan was exposed, it didn't take long for the king to find out about the event, so in turn made him gather 400 men and many bloodhounds to aid in the search for the Bean family.
You said this took place in the 1500s?
15th century,
The
yeah.
15th century?
Mm-hmm. It didn't take them long to find the cave, and what they saw was horrifying. The family was sitting among the remains of their victims. Some of them were hanging on the walls, and some of them were overflowing in barrels. Now, they even found large piles of heirlooms and jewelry. Now, it's said that there are two versions of what happened after the family was found. The first account is what most people tend to believe. The first one says that the family was taken into custody without any trouble. They were chained up and taken to Edinburgh to jail. They were then taken to, some sources say, Leith or Glasgow, where they were eventually executed because the authorities said that the family were unfit for a trial. Now, we're going to have a content warning here. Some of the things that were done to the Bean family is a little graphic.
Okay.
Now, Alexander and the rest of the men had their genitalia removed and tossed into the fire.
Ouch.
Yes. They removed the hands and the feet and were left to bleed out. Alexander's last words were said to have been, "It isn't over, it never will be over." After being made to watch their father, husbands, and brothers die, the women and children were then burned at the stake. Now, the second version is that the authorities had used gunpowder to blow the entrance to the cave up and that the Bean family had suffocated. Now, there is another short legend that says one of the Bean daughters moved to Girvan, where she had planted a tree that was soon known as the Hairy Tree. Don't know why, but that's what it is. When the people of this town found out about her family and the crimes that they had committed, they captured her and hung her from that very tree. Yes. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if she was like young and moved and didn't have any kind of involvement in it, I don't see why they would do that. But I guess back in the day, yeah,
Guilty by association.
Now, one very interesting fact that comes from the story is that this is the tale that gave Wes Craven his idea for the movie The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
I have the reference for it. Because you looked at me like, oh.
The only reason that I looked at you like that is because I might be thinking of Deliverance. But one, it's either The Hills Have Eyes or Deliverance. That one of those is the case that
Okay.
anyway is the case that his grandma worked. She was a psychic, and it was where the kids were found that had been taken. She helped locate the kids.
I don't think that's the Hills Have Eyes, because
What
that was
movie
about
is that?
it was about that family of cannibals that lived up in the hills, and like the two German shepherds and the family in the bus or the RV or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that with the cannibals in the hills. I don't know. I'll have to ask him when he gets home. But I'm pretty sure. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so the next legend is not as long as the first one and is a little different in the sense that we're going to be talking about cannibal dwarves. But I thought that it was interesting because I've never heard of these creatures before. So I decided to go ahead and talk a little bit about them.
I also have never heard of these creatures before, but they sound super interesting.
Yeah, they're kind of creepy looking, to be honest.
Well, see, now I have to look them up.
Okay.
Carry on.
You go ahead and do that, and I will Okay. Alright, so, now these creatures are called the Teihiihan, also known as Teihiihan.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they are not adorable.
No, they are not. They are very creepy, gnarly looking creatures. They were
That's terrifying. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's...
They're like piranha people.
Yeah, they're kind of weird.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Now this name was given to them by the Arapaho tribe, which means little people, but are better known as the cannibal dwarves. Now these creatures are said to be the survivors of the race that was destroyed by the Arapaho tribe in ancient times. They are said to have a huge appetite for human flesh. They are also said to be more familiar to the tribes by the Rocky Mountains. They do also appear in native legends going from the Pacific Northwest to the Minnesota River. Now, their presence in the past is confirmed by Paleolithic petroglyphs. This does suggest that the Teihiihan have been enemies of the plains for many years. Cannibal dwarves are said to be 2 to 3 feet tall, and they look like they were born with deformities. They have dark complexions, crazy-looking hair, and a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth, and their clothes are made of torn animal skins. Their appearances do differ from place to place. The Crow tribe think that they do not have necks, and that because they consume so much human flesh, their stomachs are extremely enlarged. The Siouan tribes believe that they have wings, and the Omaha tribe say that they have a single cyclopean eye. Now, many of the legends say that they can cast curses, can make themselves invisible, and they can capture the souls of slain Indian warriors. They say that they will kidnap children and turn some of them into fellow monsters. All the tribes agree that these creatures are very strong, fast, and they normally hunt in packs. Now, because they were almost wiped out before, the Teihiihan try to stay hidden, so they will live in isolated layers, foothills, woodlands, and hidden caves. There are also tales that talk about subterranean cities that have stone huts and mushroom forests, and some say that there are dwellings that are hard to reach high in the Rocky Mountains. I'm not sure how true the story is, but there is a story about how the Teihiihan obtain immortality, which is said to be close to the way that primitive vampires used to do. Again, not sure how true it is because I've never heard of this interpretation about the vampire race. So before a cannibal dwarf can leave the house to go hunting, they have to take out their heart and intestines and pin them to the wall using wooden stakes, which will make sure that if they are attacked, they cannot be permanently killed.
Man, that's true. That's smart.
Yeah, but I mean, with them saying that it's kind of like the primitive vampire race. I always thought that the way to destroy a vampire was either to cut the head off or to pierce it through the heart with the wooden stake.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that would keep it from dying if
That's what they're using to pin it to the wall.
Right.
Also, like, when they remove the heart, does it not stop beating?
I guess not. I guess it just sits on the wall and...
Huh. Okay.
Now, if the...
One might call it wall heart.
If the dwarf was killed in battle or another means, his pack would take his heart and intestines and feed them to a human child. Then that child is buried alive during a new moon. Now, if the child successfully completes the transformation, he is now a Teihiihan, and his old memories are now replaced by the spirit of the resurrected dwarf. Another story is that a warrior was caught by one of the creatures, and he struck up a conversation trying to delay his death. He seen that there were a lot of small hearts on the wall close to him, and he asked the creature, what were they for? And because they say that they're not very bright, the creature explained that they belonged to his family that was out hunting, and he told the warrior why they had been left on the wall. So after hearing this, the warrior started to stab the little hearts and permanently kill the other creatures. Now when the warrior stabbed the last of the hearts, he had killed his captor and was able to go free. So now that's the legends of Alexander Sawney Bean and the legend of the Teihiihan. Like I said in the beginning, these are legends and there are not a lot of factual information to be found. A lot of them are stories that people make up, and then things will be added throughout the years to make them better or scarier. I thought it would be an interesting topic to hit upon, and maybe we could do more on different legends from around the world. So if you have one that you would like for us to talk about, send us an email at renderthedarknesspod@gmail.com, and we will do some legend requests.
That would be incredible. I would love to dive into some more legends and some maybe legends that we don't know about in other parts of the world that we've never heard of.
Yeah.
That's probably some of my favorite things to do is the cases that are things I've never heard of before, where I can feel like I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
Especially in other parts of the world.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff in different parts of the world that, we had no idea about. Yeah. A lot of stuff, so... Okay. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
That was a very interesting case.
Thank you.
I think you did a really good job on it.
Thank you.
So I guess that is the episode. We, as always, are hopeful that you enjoyed the episode and that you will write in or comment and send us any kind of requests or suggestions or anything like that. We're really open to listener engagement.
Yeah, anything that you can think of, any kind of topics, even paranormal, cryptids, anything.
Even if you just want to say hi.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say hi to you.
Yeah, we'll say hi, what's up?
I'll say hello.
What's up, bestie?
Hi.
Our beautiful people.
And as always, we can be found on Amazon Music, Spotify, Threads, Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're fixing to create a YouTube channel as well and start doing some video recordings that we can post there. And yeah, I think we're also in the works of creating a website as well.
Yes.
So...
get that up and going at some point in time.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us and listening to us today, and we really appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes, thank you so much for your support.
And we are
Render the Darkness.